this will they won't they is getting old. Silly Goofy Romance is the move for the next audiobook. Like, I don't think the payoff is worth the amount of build-up and twists and turns that it has taken to get there. Hence, duology. So I can have a little after lunch, like, Silly Goofy Bev. I just don't, like, you can't have a successful rom-com where both characters, I don't like them. I don't know that I'm gonna rush to finish either of these books because I just simply have no desire to. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Haley. I'm 25. I live in the city of Chicago and I like to post about what I'm doing and what I'm reading and what I'm making on this channel. So if you're interested, if you like that kind of thing, like, comment, and subscribe. This week, for this vlog, I want to really focus on reading what I'm reading, getting books read, kind of like attacking my TBR, making some progress. I've mentioned multiple times in the past couple of videos that I am incredibly far behind on my reading goal for the year. To hit my goal of 75 books for the year, I have to read 8 books a month, which is just a lot of books. So I'm really trying to do some damage and get these numbers up so that way in December I'm not like 3 books short of my reading goal or like rushing to get these books read. So let's see. For this year I have read 22 out of my 75 book goal, so I have to read 8 books a month to hit my goal before the end of the year. That's a lot. That's a lot. I had 2 slow reading months and that really knocked me off of my grind. February and April I read 2 books both of those months. But I read 7 books last month. So we're going strong. And I've started listening to audiobooks again. This time last year, I would say from like January to about this time last year, I listened to a ton of audiobooks and that definitely got my books of the year of 2025 up. And then I stopped listening to audiobooks around when I moved here. And then I didn't listen to audiobooks very much at the end of last year or the beginning of this year. And I've started picking it up within the past like month or so. And so that definitely helps because I can listen, you know, it's an audiobook, it's not a book. So I can like listen to it on times when I couldn't read, like when I'm cleaning, when I'm driving, when I'm like doing certain things at work, I can have my headphones in. So that's helping. I'm focusing on this. We are locked in. So I did cancel my Kindle Unlimited subscription after I got my library card for the Chicago Public Library. With my new shiny library card, guys, I haven't signed up for a library card since I was like 8. I've had the same library where my parents live since I was like 8. I think maybe even 7. And so I had to go sign up for the library card for the first time in decades. Crazy. I came home, I looked at Libby and Hoopla and the actual library website, and I decided to make the decision to cancel my Kindle Unlimited, save a couple of bucks this summer, have a Chicago Public Library summer. So I've been going crazy with the holds. My Libby holds are maxed out. There's only 5. You can only have 5 at a time. My Libby holds are maxed out. I've got a bunch of stuff on hold for the actual library, and that is where we're focusing. So that is why my TBR is about to look the way that it does for this summer. I'm not putting myself on a hard ban, but I am trying to continue I haven't bought any books in a while. So I'm trying to continue that, put it down to a minimum just for space reasons and just to save a few bucks here and there. So I'm trying to limit the amount of money I spend on books. I'm trying to increase the amount of books that I read. I'm trying to support my local library. And that is really the vibes going into this week's vlog. I do have a TBR of sorts for the week, starting off with Accomplice to the Villain, which I am currently listening to through Libby. It's the third book in the Assistant to the Villain series. It's the most recent book. The next one comes out in August. I'm almost done with it, so I'm gonna finish that one probably today or tomorrow. I'm 65% of the way through with that one, so for sure finishing that one. And then we have, one of my goals for the year is to read, I think it's 10 classics, I don't remember, but one of my goals for the month is to read a classic book. So my pick for this month is The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, which I know in the back of my mind, I know what it's about, but I don't remember really. I know it's influenced a lot of like TV shows and movies, so excited for that. It's a short story. It is also on Libby. Then I do have a physical copy of Funny Story by Emily Henry. That is on my TBR potentially. Mile High by Liz Tomforde, which is the first book in the Windy City series. I started reading this like a while ago. Like I think around when that series was maybe on book 2. And I almost immediately DNF'd it, but I've heard so many good things about that series as a whole, so I'm willing to give it another chance, just because me personally, as a reader, specifically as a standalone rom-com series reader, I generally don't love the first book, but I do like the rest of the books in the series. Like I have had multiple instances where I've read a like sports romance series or whatever, and the first book is like okay, and then the rest of the books I've really enjoyed. So I'm gonna give it another chance and see if that's kind of the vibe for this one. If I can't finish it, then I won't finish it. I'm not gonna force myself to. It's just, I'm bringing that one back. We're gonna see, we'll see how I'm feeling, what the vibe is. I live in the Windy City, so like maybe I'll like it more now. Who knows? Who knows? Next is Fearless by Lauren Roberts, which is the third and final book in the Powerless series. I read the first 2 books. The first one was fine. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. The second book was like a whole lot of nothing, and so I just want to read the third book and get it over with. I've seen all the drama with it being a ripoff of the Red Queen in Hunger Games. I agree. I do see that this is like almost 100% Red Queen x Hunger Games in this series. I just need to finish it. I just need to like cross it off of my TBR and move on. So that one is actually pretty high up in my TBR for this week, just so that I can move on and not have to think about the series again. Next is, and this one is gonna happen whenever the God of Library Holds deems it so. The next book in my book club that we are going to be reading is Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry, which I currently have on hold through Libby. So whenever that becomes available, I'll be reading that, just because I have a time constraint on that. It's my book club book for June. That is on my list. I also have no idea what that one's about. I only put it on hold because of the book club. So that is my TBR for this week. Obviously not getting to all of it. My goal, including Accomplice to the Villain, is to read 4 books this week, which sounds like a lot, but I'm almost done with Accomplice to the Villain. Fall of the House of Usher is a short story, and if I read if one of those books is a rom-com, that probably won't take me super long, so I think I could get 4 done. But we'll see. I'll probably listen to my audiobook today. I have to fold and put away the laundry. And then I was just planning on playing my video game for the rest of the day, and I've been listening to my audiobook while doing that, and that's been fun. So that might be the move for the rest of the day, to see if we can get some damage done on Accomplice to the Villain. I have about 5.5 hours left. So tomorrow we should be done with her. And that'll be beautiful, and then the next book comes out in August, and then I can be done with this series. So this is the 3rd book in the series, and I have been enjoying it, but I will say it's not like great. It feels very YA, very like enemies to lovers kind of fan fiction-y. It's very tropey, it's very rom-com-y, it's very much so a comedy, but there are mature themes. So like every time something, because it's so like goofy and kind of ridiculous, and he's like the big bad villain, and she is like kind of this like klutzy but like savvier than she looks girl, and she's like not scared of him but everybody else is scared of him, but like he's the villain but he's actually fighting for a good cause, and it's like all very ridiculous. Whenever like one of the more mature themes comes up, I'm like, oh, it like shocks me, just because like it doesn't feel like an adult book. It feels very YA. Like the plot and everything is very YA, but they've added maturity. I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say about it. My favorite character is the frog. So, and they gave the frog a point of view in this book. So a win is a win, really. I hope the frog gets turned back into a human, I think, is like their goal right now. I don't really know. The king sucks. The main character, Sage's family, her dad sucks. Her mom, I don't really know what the damage is there. You know, I will say, if Evie and the villain do not get together in this book, I'm going to be very frustrated, because they've had a very strong will they won't they for all 3 books. Since like at the end of the first book, I think, was like building up to it, and it's all of the second book and all of the third book, we're getting both of their point of views, and both of them are just pining after the other person, like very obviously, but it's like we can't be together, and I'm like, I just need them to get together, because I'm sick of the back and forth and this like prophecy being the reason that they think that they can't get together and can't be with each other. You can. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Obviously, there's so many relationships in this book that I'm like, we can kind of let somebody else shine. We can let somebody else get together. We can let like Claire or Tatiana be, you know, the get together of the 4th book, or I guess Blade and Rebecca are already sort of together. But then there's Keeley and Gideon. Like, we can let another character kind of relationship, building new relationship, kind of take the forefront, and just let Evie and Tristan get together. Kingsley apparently has a true love. The frog apparently has a true love. Let him and his apparent love interest come to the forefront in the next book. Just this will they won't they is getting old, especially because like I have a feeling it's gonna be like some dumb loophole of like the wording of everything. I don't know. Let's get reading. I have my latte in my Taylor Swift cup. She's vintage. The most recent one is Midnight's. Isn't that crazy? Hello, good morning. Welcome to Monday. I listened to Accomplice to the Villain yesterday for a little bit, so I'm about 84% of the way through now. About 2.5 hours left. I'm not confident that they're going to get together in this book. I'm not confident that that's gonna happen. I really wish it would, but there's a lot going on. They just got to the villain's mom's house. A lot going on. Also, I keep forgetting until it's brought up that there is like a traitor, a rat in the mix, and I really don't know who it is. I thought I knew, but I don't think it's them, and I don't know who it is, but it's like they keep forgetting about it also, and so stuff keeps going wrong, and I'm like, why are we not more focused on that? Because it seems to be a pretty big problem whenever they do snitch on something and tell the king what you're doing, and then the king comes and just like immediately sabotages your whole operation. I just feel like we need to be paying more attention to like who this person is, and we're not. So I'm hoping maybe that person at least gets unmasked if they're not going to get together in this book. I don't know. Very ridiculous, whatever. And then last night I started reading Fearless by Lauren Roberts, and I am 6% of the way through. I literally only read 4 chapters. I don't remember what happened at the end of the book before this one, and I feel like I'm like piecing it together, but this book starts and she's like getting engaged, and I'm like, what is going on? I thought she was arrested. Like, I thought she got arrested at the end of the last one, but as I read, I'm like, oh, she got arrested, and this is like one of those like marriage of convenience, like we have to get married because it unites our people even though you're a criminal kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Kit apparently, I remember him being like sort of crazy in the last one, and he's like less crazy in this one. I am interested to see kind of how she resolves the 2 brothers, because I remember in Red Queen kind of what happened there and like what happened between those 2 brothers. So I'm like interested to see what happens in this one, because Kit is supposed to be Maven, but he's not. Like, Maven was like genuinely crazy and evil and like awful, and Kit is not. Like, Kit does not seem to be evil at the moment. I don't know. So I don't really care, but I am interested to see what happens. They're naming people and I'm like, I do not remember you at all, and they're like pretty major side characters. So I'm gonna be doing no backup research because I don't actually care. I'm just gonna read this book and finish it, and it's not complicated enough that not remembering the last book is a problem. It's pretty straightforward, and I do remember the plot of Red Queen and Hunger Games, so like really what more do I need? So that's where I'm at on my reading journey. Yeah, hopefully I finish Accomplice to the Villain today. I don't see why I wouldn't, and I think the next book I'm gonna listen to is Mile High by Tomforde, but we'll see. There might be some changes made just depending on the mood that I'm in when I finish that one, but I think Silly Goofy Romance is the move for the next audiobook. I'm really picky about audiobooks. Obviously the narrator has to be good. I don't love the narrator for the Assistant to the Villain series, but I've been listening to 3 books, so I've just kind of got used to it. But the narrator has to be good, and the story has to be interesting, but it can't be too convoluted or intense. Like, I can't really listen to like a fantasy audiobook because I'm typically multitasking. I'm typically doing something else, and so like my attention is just automatically divided. And so if it's something more intense with a lot of world building and stuff that you have to pay attention to, it's not going to work as an audiobook for me because I'm going to miss a lot of it. But if it's something I can miss like sentences here and there and be fine, that's better for an audiobook, which just lends itself better to like a silly goofy rom-com than a fantasy novel. So I think Mile High by Tomforde is going to be next, and then we will go from there. It is mobile order Monday at Dunkin', so I'm going to place my mobile order and then go to work. Let's get started. Let's get this week started. Let's get some books read. That's all I got. Hello and welcome to Tuesday. I had reading updates from yesterday, but I didn't pick up the camera to film, so I'm gonna give them today instead. I finished Accomplice to the Villain. I gave it either 3 or 3.5 stars, I can't remember. I really think as I was finishing up this book, as I was finishing up the audiobook, I really came to the conclusion that this series would, I think, have been so good as a duology if they had kept the silly, goofy hijinks and gotten rid of a lot of the subplots and the plot twists. And there's a lot of like fairy tale retellings, like everybody kind of has their own story. Evie is Beauty and the Beast, the head of the guard is Rapunzel, then we have Princess and the Frog with Kingsley. Like, everybody kind of has their own story, and while that's really nice, I feel like the actual story is moving so slowly because we're taking all of this time to tell the story of what it was like for the captain of the guard when she was a little girl, and what it was like, you know, like, and like Kingsley being the crown prince, and like, it's just, I just think if we had cut out like half of the like subplots and plot twists and like going on full tangents with side characters and just made this a duology, this series would be so much better. They're just dragging it out for so long. And while Evie and the villain do not get together in this book, I'm not as upset about it as I would be, because it was kind of like a roles reversal of finding out that it's actually Evie's power, not the villain's power. And now she's like, oh, I'm evil and I'm gonna ruin you. So I feel like she gets to have kind of her time to be like whatever about it and kind of like give him a taste of his own medicine. So I'm like not entirely upset about it, but I am like a little bit upset that I think they're gonna get together like on the last page of the next book and like that's gonna be it. So a lot of build up, and I don't think the payoff is going to be that good. Like I don't think the payoff is worth the amount of build up and twists and turns that it has taken to get there. Hence duology. The plot twists weren't obvious, but they weren't not obvious. Like I didn't expect the plot twist at the end of this book with Tristan's father being the king and it being Evie's magic. I didn't really see that coming, but also at the same time there's so many side plots and there are so many moving parts that it's almost hard to like pay attention to like what is actually going on. I didn't remember the prophecy for half the book, and also part of this is because I was doing an audiobook and not reading it, so I couldn't go back and reference the prophecy. But there were like whole like groupings of chapters in this book where I forgot there even was a prophecy, and they'd be like, oh, the prophecy, and I thought they were talking about what Fate's animals said about them being each other's doom and damnation or whatever. Now the fact that there was an actual prophecy that they like took down this whole window for, that was also like this whole big thing of like run it down story, and it's just like so much going on, so many moving parts. Now we have to make Kingsley into a person, and oh, like surprise surprise, here's Kingsley's true love, but actually JK, we don't need Kingsley's true love because we have Evie's true love. And it's just like, it's just a lot going on, and I think that really takes away from the story. I think they really should have stuck to a relatively non-convoluted plot with the silly goofy hijinks, and I think it would have done so well as a duology. But we'll see. I may take back everything I said in when the fourth book comes out, but I don't think I will. I think I'm gonna enjoy the fourth book, but I don't think I'm gonna love it. And I think this series is just gonna be like something that was good and entertaining, but wasn't amazing and fantastic. Also, with everything moving around and there being so many moving parts, I feel like we're doing a lot of like repeated insults. Like a lot of things are being repeated. Like Evie's dad keeps showing up and just proving that he sucks. And then the trope of parents sucking just keeps showing up. And I'm like, okay, we get it. Like, almost, like, meeting Tatiana's dad and him not sucking, I was like, whenever they were, like, talking to Evie about him and be like, if you notice anything, like, let us know. I thought he was gonna be, like, full-on Davy Jones or something like that. He's just a silly, goofy guy who loves his daughter. And I was shocked and aghast. And then we meet Tristan's mom, and she is horrible. And, like, even Evie's mom at the end ends up kind of sucking. It's just repeated. I'm sick of, like, hearing about how much Evie's family sucks and how much her family has let her down. Like, even her cousin, I think it was in the second or the third book. I don't know. Her cousin sucks also. And then with everything moving around, I think this is gonna come back up. But there is a third Maehrer sibling who we have not heard about in a long time. And he is currently living in Evie's house and also like a drunkard who lost his tavern. So I feel like he's gonna come back. I don't remember his name, but I do feel like in all of the craziness of the hopefully last book of the series, he's gonna come back, and it's, I don't know, it's probably gonna fall flat for me, but it's gonna be like, oh, you remember this guy? And it's like, no, he's had like 4 pages of screen time. Since finishing Accomplice to the Villain, I started listening to the first book of the Windy City series, which is called Mile High, which is about a hockey player and a flight attendant who is a flight attendant on his team's plane. And I remember starting this and almost immediately DNFing it, and I couldn't remember like why. I just remember there was something about it I didn't like. I just hate him. He sucks. Like, he is the NHL's resident bad boy. He's always getting in trouble and always getting in fights on the ice and, like, going home with a different woman every night and yada yada yada. And then he, like, has this, like, secret soft side where he's, like, really close with his best friend and his best friend's family and, like, his best friend's kids. And he loves these kids, and like he doesn't want the media to know that he has the soft side because the hard ass persona that he has sells whatever, and he makes $1 bajillion kind of projecting this persona. But then we get to the interactions, at least in the beginning. Let's see. I started listening to it yesterday, so I'm not super far. I'm only 20% of the way through. So in the first 20%, his interactions with our female main character are just like off. Like, they're just him like proving that this persona is correct. Like, he's just being rude to her the whole time, and she's just trying to do her job. And I think that's what gets, it's not enemies to lovers, it's her trying to do her job. And he, within the first chapter of, at least of his point of view, is like, I'm gonna make it a point to make her job as hard as possible. Ew. And then he does. And I don't know if it's just because I used to be a server and I used to work in the service industry, but that is so gross to me. I'm just like, shut up. And we're getting to the point in this book where he's starting to realize that he has feelings for her, but his feelings are clouded by this persona that he's built for himself. So he thinks he just wants to sleep with her, get her out of his system, move on. Obviously, that's not the case, but still, it's like he's going about it in a little bit of a better way than he was in the beginning, but he's kind of going about it in a really bad way because he's centering it fully around, like, sleeping with her and not around, like, who she is as a person. And on her side of things, she's a lot more palatable than he is, but a lot of her character and character arc centers around the fact that she is not a size 2. She brings it up constantly that she's not a size 2, and she gets very triggered when people talk about her weight or her size because, like, her mom used to do it, which I understand, and I understand that this is part of her character, but it is one of my least favorite character traits that we give female main characters, is that they're super insecure about their body to this extent where it's like any time she mentions what she's wearing, what she's eating, what she's doing, who she's with, it always ties back to how she feels in her body and how her body is built. And I'm just like, we need something else other than just this. So I understand immediately off the bat, I understand why I DNF this book. The male main character, hate, and I don't love all of the constant body checking. It's just not my favorite, but I will persevere. Hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he quits whatever it is that he's got going on this plane. I just don't, like, you can't have a successful rom-com where both characters, I don't like them. So far, it seems that the only thing she sees in him is that he's really attractive. She doesn't really see any personality traits that she's into, which, I don't know. So we'll see how the rest of this book goes. I'm also currently reading Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I'm like really scared that these two books are gonna put me in a slump for the rest of the week because I just simply don't care what happens in Fearless. Right now, Peyton and Kai are having this like dramatic like back and forth of like, we just have to pretend like we don't know what the rules are, like it's either this or I die, while she kind of gets used to the fact that she's engaged to Kit the King. And so the only thing that's really getting me through reading this book is that I am interested to see how Lauren Roberts solves the love triangle. And then we have this weird commentary on how they're brothers and they're fighting each other because they both want her for the same or different reasons. I don't know. So, a lot to catch up on. A lot of yapping today because I didn't yap at all yesterday, but I think today is going to be a audiobook on the couch while playing Dreamlight Valley night. If you've played Dreamlight Valley or you know anything about it, you collect companions, and certain companions are more rare than other ones, and they're only out at certain times of certain days. So I have 2 companions, one in Eternity Isle and one on the actual valley itself, that I need to interact with tonight to get one step closer to unlocking them. So I think I'm gonna continue listening to Mile High and do that and enjoy my night. Hello, good morning, welcome to Wednesday. Yesterday did not go as I initially planned. I did start playing my game and I did unlock the Brown Raven. So huge. But I just was not in the mood to listen to Mile High, so I didn't. And then I decided to have a self-care-ish night. So I took a nice shower, did my full skincare routine, did a face mask, relaxed, went to bed early. So there was no reading done last night, which, whatever. It's whatever. This morning, I woke up with a headache, which is not ideal for ever, but especially because I have a lot of physical moving of things around that I need to do at work today. So that's not going to be fun. But other than that, I'm off to work. I've made a cookie dough latte. It's a salted brown sugar cookie dough latte. I went to Julasko yesterday and they had the Chobani cookie dough creamer, and a little while ago I think it might have been when the creamer was first released, I saw all of these cookie dough lattes and I was like, I'm not gonna go buy a whole creamer just to make a latte. But I saw it and I have been drinking a lot more cold brew lately, which I use creamer for. So I was like, oh, let me try this. And so here she is. I put about a tablespoon of brown sugar with some salt. I did the Nespresso Chiaro pod, which is a double shot, and then whole milk, accidentally lactose free. I didn't realize Fairlife is lactose free. Accidentally lactose free, whole milk, and then I made cold foam out of heavy cream and the creamer. So it smells like cookie dough. I don't know that it really tastes like cookie dough. But it's good. It definitely has the brown sugar taste. So I don't know what the creamer tastes like, but it definitely has the brown sugar taste of a chocolate chip cookie. But all in all, very good. I've started keeping my breakfasts and lunches for the week just in the office fridge because we have space in our fridge, and I literally take up this much space in the corner. I bought yogurt and blackberries on Monday for breakfast for the week, so I don't have to worry about prepping breakfast while I'm home, which has been huge because a lot of times I won't realize that I'm out and I won't have time to go grab anything. So that's super helpful. And then I just bought 2 bag salads, and bag salads are pretty big if you want to eat a whole salad. I never finish a full bag salad, so I've been cutting them in half. So I bought 2 bag salads for the rest of the week. So that has been super helpful actually in just figuring out. I don't have to figure out what I want for lunches. It takes a lot of the pressure off of meal prepping on Sundays. I don't have to worry about grabbing lunch in the mornings. It's all just right there. Also, there was a deal at Julasko where the Ollipops were $1 each. They're normally around $2.50, so I bought a bunch of them, and those are also in the fridge at work. So I can have a little after lunch, silly goofy bev. Huge. So hopefully my headache is going away. I do feel it loosening up. I think it was just I don't know, it was a weird headache. It's not a headache I normally get, but I can kind of feel it loosening up with the meds that I took. So that's super nice. I'm gonna head to work. I'm gonna get stuff done. I have a very busy week and a half ahead of me. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being a week and a half in the future when this is all over. I feel like I always go back and forth when I'm dead at work and I have very little to do and I'm like scrounging for work, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so bored, I just want something to do. And then when I'm really busy, I'm like, I would kill to just be like staring blankly at my computer right now. But what can you do? So good morning, and hopefully I get some listening done today, and we'll see if we can get a book finished today. I doubt it. I don't think I'm far enough on either of the books that I'm reading right now to finish a book today, but we can cross our fingers and hope and dream. Hello and welcome to Thursday. This weekly vlog is very quickly getting derailed and changing from a reading vlog to just kind of what's going on, sort of. Yesterday my plan was to do some damage on Fearless and or Mile High and hopefully finish one of them soon. But I got a text from Chase on my way to work yesterday that we had been invited to a White Sox game. I am not a White Sox fan. I'm not really a baseball girly, but I thought it'd be fun. I haven't been to a Major League Baseball game in probably 4.5 years. So I was like, why not? And I haven't been to a game in Chicago yet. So we did that instead of reading, which was very fun and I don't regret it at all. I also meant to maybe take some B-roll footage, something, while I was there, but we were there with Chase's coworkers and I was like, I'm not gonna be like pulling out my phone to vlog. I'm meeting these people for the first time. So I took like one 7-second clip. But it was fun. The White Sox won. The weather was nice. It poured down rain yesterday. And then like 30 minutes before first pitch, like, was fine. And it was fine for the rest of the night. So that was beautiful. And then this morning I had a little bit of a slow morning because last night was a later night. So didn't pick up the camera this morning. But I'm here now after work. I listened to Mile High at work today because I was doing a lot of just monotonous tasks that don't require like a lot of active thinking. So I'm 68% of the way through with this book. And it is growing on me a little bit. The main male character is growing on me, but I still don't really like him very much. I just feel like for both the male main character and the female main character, I just feel like they are very focused on their like insecurities, and they're letting their insecurities become like 95% of their personality, and it's like 95% of what they think about other than how attractive they find the other person. And I just am like so sick of listening to it. I understand that they have like this like traumatic past that's going to influence the course of the plot of the book, but it's just constant. We're constantly hearing about how his mom left him when he was a kid. It's just like every single thing goes back to that. He's like, well, this happened, well, this happened, well, and it's like, okay. And then for her, it's like every single thing is about how people around her have made her feel insecure and not confident in herself, and that's just like dictated how she's moved through her life. That is it. That's all we get for their characters. We don't really get much other than that. And while I feel like he likes her for who she is, a lot of what I'm seeing from her side is that she likes him because he's nice to her and because like he's kind of doing the bare minimum. He's paying attention to her and not making her feel insecure or unconfident in herself, which is her only experience with men, with her, like her past boyfriend. And so I'm just like, what, you know, like this is kind of the bare minimum. This is kind of just how you should be treated. He just has a lot of money and can do it a lot louder. So that being said, I'm 53% of the way through. They're together and like happy. So there is for sure going to be some sort of third act breakup conflict situation going on. And I'm just not looking forward to what that's going to be. I just don't foresee this being a third act breakup that I care about particularly. I don't know what the rest of the books are about, but my prediction for the next book is just raw. I don't know what the rest of the books are about, but my prediction is that one of the books is going to be about Indy, and I'm for sure one of the books is going to be about Indy and one of the books is going to be about her brother, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be about them together. That's my prediction. And then also The Rookie. I think we're going to get a book about The Rookie. So those are my predictions. I really don't know what other characters we would bring in to write a book about unless they don't put Indy and her brother together. I don't know. I will be finishing this one. I will try the next one, and if I don't like the next one, I will probably just go ahead and put this series down because I'm just not vibing with it. Also, we see a lot of them getting together from his point of view, and I just do not want to hear that. I don't want to hear like his side of things. I'm just like, okay, great. And I don't know, I'm just not vibing with the book as a whole. So I am ready for it to be done. I have 5.5 hours of it left, so I'm gonna do my best to kind of power through a lot of it tomorrow. I have a lot of the same thing to do at work tomorrow, but if I can finish it this week, honestly, I'd consider it a win. I haven't picked up Fearless in days. So much for reading 4 books this week. I still do want to read Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm almost tempted to just pick that up and read it because it is a short story and I think it's actually going to be interesting. I love Edgar Allan Poe's work. I just am like, I just want to get this over with. Shield of Sparrows became available on Libby. I have The Night We Met, I think it is, by Abby Jimenez. Her new release is available at the library. I have to go pick up that hold. So I don't know how soon any of these books are going to be read. I'm trying to be a considerate library member and read my library books with like a speed to it so that anybody waiting for it can get can get it, and I'm not like holding up the line. But this is what happened. I was nervous about this when I started putting everything on hold, that everything was going to come off of hold at the same time. Luckily, I think I have 2 to 3 weeks for most of these books to read them, but I do feel bad that like somebody's probably waiting for this book and I'm like, I have to read all of these other books first. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Tonight, I am going to relax and play Disney Dreamlight Valley. I'm probably not going to listen to Mile High because, quite frankly, I've had enough for the day. I'm probably going to watch something on my laptop. I should edit. I'm not going to edit. Hopefully I edit tomorrow because this is going up on Sunday and I don't really have very much time. But yeah. That is my Thursday plans. Thrilling, I know, but tomorrow... Actually, I don't know what I'm going to do because tomorrow I'm going to happy hour after work for one of my coworkers' birthdays. So, we'll see when this gets edited, when this all happens. But it's Thursday. We are so close to the weekend. Thank God. Big thinking. I think this is your debut for this week. Hanging out. Hanging out, looking so handsome in your bandana. Are you so handsome in your bandana? Yeah. Just rolling right over, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a handsome guy in my bandana. Let's come a little closer. Yeah, I'm a handsome guy in my bandana. I'm so handsome. I'm the handsomest bandana man on the planet. Oh yeah. Oh, get in here. What's this paw doing? What's this paw doing in the air? Is the ear flapping around? That's good. And the lip? Ugh. This is craziness. This is freaking craziness. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Freaking yeah, okay. Oh. Jesus. Hello. Welcome to Friday. This entire vlog has just been an absolute mess. Sabotaged by the powers that be from the beginning, in a good and bad way. I picked 2 books to read simultaneously, both of which I do not care at all about the outcomes. I had a surprise White Sox game after work, which was a delight. I had a semi-surprise happy hour that was supposed to be after work today, but then got canceled. A lot going on. a lot happening, and none of it has been really conducive to a reading vlog. Hey, you don't need to do that. You can put your head right here. You can put your head right here? Yeah, that's good. None of it has been conducive to a reading vlog, and at this point we're just gonna take it and run with it. Whatever happens, happens. Today, I went to work. It was Friday. Praise God. I had a very chill day. Most people in my office work from home on Fridays, so the vibe is usually very chill, no stress, just finishing out the week and then being excited for the weekend. And so finished out what I needed to do. I'm in a good place for my meeting next week, which is nice because obviously I don't want to be stressed about that. And then I came home intending to take the dog out before I went to my happy hour and found out that the happy hour was actually not happening because the birthday girl's dog does not feel good. So I decided to get some stuff done around the house. I am working on the laundry. I have the dishes going. I vacuumed the floors. Just got some stuff done around here. Then I sat and played Dreamlight Valley for a little bit. And I started watching Rivals on Hulu. I'm on episode 1. And so far it's good. I don't really know what it's about. I've seen the TikToks and I know like obviously the scenes that I've seen on TikTok, but I don't actually know like what the show is about or who anybody is. Bo knows what it's about, so. Grumble grumble. He's a fan. So I've been doing that. I've been drinking my Lillet Spritz, enjoying my evening. Chase is at a non-cancelled happy hour. So things ebb and they flow. Tomorrow I'm planning on baking or prepping the dough for a loaf of sourdough, but we'll see what my starter looks like in the morning because my ratios weren't quite right today. So that may go one way or another. Other than that, I don't have any plans. I don't even have plans to read. I will read because I've read every day this year so far and I don't plan on breaking that streak. But I don't know that I'm gonna rush to finish either of these books because I simply have no desire to. So we're gonna continue our evening plans as we have. Bo Stinkin needs dinner time. He needs go potty time. That's my hair. And he needs go sleep time. Pronto. That'll get you up and moving, huh? That'll get those old bones in gear, huh? You wanna say hi? Look over here. No, I don't want to say hi. No, I don't want to say hi. It's about 1:30. I have to go to the library to pick up a hold and the grocery store for a pretty major grocery haul. So I think I'm gonna end the vlog out here. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to follow along. Sorry that my reading vlog was an absolute disaster. I have not done any reading, I don't think, since. I did read a little bit last night. I read a couple pages of Fearless, and that was it. Nothing is probably getting done today, and that's okay. We live and we learn. Hopefully these books get finished. Hopefully these books don't destroy the reading streak that I've had. It'll be good. It'll be fun. We'll have fun with it.